Welcome back, Tigers. We're going to explore how to store digital assets in Salesforce and share them publicly with our customers and partners. Our company faces challenges when marketing teams remove or relocate digital assets that are referenced in Salesforce, email notifications, and other areas, resulting in broken links and a poor customer experience. We want a simple solution that doesn't require a user to log into an application like Dropbox to see these assets and files. Let's go check out how to implement this simple solution for our users. Now, before we get into anything here, I wanted to go over a couple of things so you can choose whether or not this solution is going to be right for your company, because what I'm going to show you could be controversial depending on who's listening. So we have seen a common problem that happens with a lot of companies, whether they're really large or small, is the team that is managing the website that is storing all these digital assets may move the digital asset, the website gets changed, digital asset gets relocated, and we're linking to those assets somewhere in Salesforce, whether it be in an email template that goes out to customers or partners, or if it's a link that's stored in the Salesforce UI. It's been really frustrating for some of our customers because there's nothing on the marketing side that tells them that we're using this digital asset in Salesforce. They really wanted a solution that allows them complete and total control over that asset getting changed, getting updated, so that the links never break for their customers and partners. They also wanted a solution that didn't require the user who is clicking the link to the digital asset to log into like a Dropbox account or something like that, because that's not a very friendly user experience for some people. They just wanted the person to be able to click the link and then they can see the asset. These assets are public files. Anybody who has the link can see it. So if you are sharing anything that has anything that's private on it, do not use this solution. Also, if you have an asset that's accessed hundreds of thousands of times within a month, this solution is not going to be right for you either, because there are limits with the solution that we're going to review where you have to stay under 500,000. Now, I know enterprise companies are not going to like us telling you about this solution because it is kind of a workaround to having a all digital assets strategy should be housed in one location, but the reality is we sometimes need to do something where we have 100% control of that asset on the Salesforce side. I've seen it happen a lot of times over the years. So I just wanted to go over all those things that you need to think about. I'm also going to put a lot of links into the description below that's going to review some of the limitations in this solution. Like, you can't have files above 5 megabytes. You can't search these files within Salesforce. You don't have version control. This is really a down and dirty solution that works really well for smaller companies who have maybe a marketing agency managing their website, or they just have a couple of files that they need to share out to their customers and partners. All right, let's get into it and see how we can set up this feature. All right, so our first step is to go into Setup. We're going to go into the quick find and we're going to type site. Now you're going to go to sites right here. This is not digital experience sites. This is sites.com. So this is different than a digital experience. You're going to click I have read and accepted the terms, and we're going to register my Salesforce site domain. And then you should see the page automatically refresh, and then you'll see a setting right here. You do not have to click anything right here. You can leave all this the way it is. Now we're going to create a new site down here. We'll call this Blue Tiger Assets. And then we have to specify an active site homepage. So you can just choose any of the pages from here. Nobody should be going to this page. If you really care about customizing a Visualforce page so that it's all pretty, you can. We're just going to use the in maintenance page because nobody really should be navigating to this. And then you can make this active, and then we'll scroll down and click save. Now this is your site. It looks a little bit different than a site guest user for a digital experience. The difference between these two is that a digital experience has a nice templated drag and drop UI that's for non-devs to be able to build a site for somebody. A site.com site, it's called a force.com site. This is what we had prior to communities or digital experiences ever being in existence. This is all custom coded. So you would have to create visual force pages for any of the pages on a site using force.com sites. But the permissions are handled exactly the same way in the public access settings. And you'll want to make sure that you come to this site guest user profile and you strip out all the permissions, because somebody could access this site. And if you have permissions in here, you could be sharing data to somebody externally. So you need to just uncheck everything, because this site does not need any of these permissions. Literally needs nothing. It should not have any object permissions, no custom object permissions, nothing. You're going to strip it bare. All right, so now we'll come back to our sites, and then we should see the Blue Tiger assets and we should see it active. Now, another good place to be aware of is the guest user sharing rule report, which we don't have access to in this org. Let me show you over here. So here's another org, and there's a place called Guest User Sharing Rule Access Report. And this is really helpful for understanding what sites have access to what. So here's all the sites that I have in this org over here. If we look at the Blue Tiger Assets site that is in this dev org, we can see that it only has access to one object, one record, and this is its own user. So a site will have access to its own user record, but you shouldn't see anything else in here. If you see anything else in here, that means that you have the permissions for the site sharing data, and you need to make sure that you restrict all that and remove all that. All right, so our next step is to create our assets in Salesforce, and that's pretty easy. So we're going to go to our static resources, and we're going to click new here. And we'll call this Blue Tiger Academy Opportunity Flow. I'm going to click browse. All right, I just uploaded a file. And then you're going to set the cache control to public here. This is important, or else they won't be able to see the file. I'm going to click save here. And then you have to have underscores in here. So let's go ahead and take those spaces out. Okay, let's click view file. And then it says that it cannot see our file. Now I've seen this error happen. So what I'll do is I'll just come in here. I will browse again. I will upload my file again and then click save. And then I can see my file here. I think what happens if it throws an error on the name, something gets messed up with the file. I've run into this before. So just go ahead and upload it again. Now click view file, and you should be able to view the file that you just uploaded without any issues. Okay, so you will upload each digital asset that you have into your static resources. Now, like I said, one of the limitations here is it can only be 5 megs. There's no version control. Only admins or developers can upload these files. So these are just some of the limitations that you have with using this type of solution. All right, the next thing that we need to do is craft the URL that we're going to put into our email template that's going to go out to our customers. So I'm going to go over here to an email template, and I'm going to show you how to create this URL. We're going to go over to our site, and we first need to get the URL for our site, which is right here. So you're going to copy this. And then you're going to do a /resource, and then you're going to put the name of your static resource right here at the end. Now, if we wanted to test this to make sure that it's accessible to all users, you can come over to a private window. We can paste the URL into the browser, and we can see that our static resource comes right up really quick. So this is what I was talking about, where it's a nice user experience where the user doesn't have to log into a Dropbox or anything like that. This is exactly how it's going to look when they click the link from the email. So this is the syntax for your link. So you can now put this into a link that is under some text. And now that is going to link out to your static resource, and you can test it to make sure that link works, and it opens it right up. So that's how you create digital assets on Salesforce that are publicly available to anybody. That's it. That's a wrap. Be sure to subscribe to Blue Tiger Academy so you don't miss out on the next video we are working on that will show you how to restrict users' ability to connect applications to Salesforce. Believe it or not, there is nothing blocking your users from entering their credentials into third-party applications and connecting your Salesforce data to the external application. We will show you how to enable a feature that will lock this down for your org. Let us know in the comments below if you have any questions or if you'd like to see a video on a different Salesforce topic. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.